Welcome to Project Activate. I'm your host, Gregory Golda. Today we're diving into one of the most persistent challenges facing our country, homelessness. Why is homelessness continuing to grow, even as billions of federal dollars are spent trying to end it? Joining me today is Michele Conderino, CEO of Open Doors in Norwalk, Connecticut. Since taking the helm in 2019, Michele has championed innovative, evidence-based strategies to confront homelessness while building a mission-driven, high-performing team. Under her leadership, Open Doors has become a model of collaboration and community engagement, strengthening partnerships and delivering real, measurable impact across Fairfield County. With nearly 2 decades of experience in housing and behavioral health, Michele is not only a regional leader in the Fairfield County Coordinated Access Network, but also serves on the board of the Housing Collective and the Connecticut Coalition to End Homelessness. Today, we talk about what's working, what isn't, and what must change if we're serious about creating a future where everyone has a place to call home. Welcome, Michele.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's wonderful to have your great organization here represented today.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about how you got involved first off, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of what you do.
Yeah, so I have been a homeless service provider for almost 20 years. Before that, I worked primarily with people with very severe, persistent mental illness. And I started as a street outreach worker. And I was in Danbury, which is very rural, and so it was a lot of hiking through the woods looking for people. But I got to see this work really from the ground up. And I loved this work. I loved meeting people literally where they're at, sometimes sitting on a log in the middle of the woods.
Wow.
And just talking with them and really trying to encourage them that they could be housed. Particularly at that time, there were a lot of people who were 15, 30 years in the experience of homelessness. They really felt it was out of reach for them. And we've done a lot of work in Connecticut to eliminate that real chronicity. But today, this work, every day I get to go in and meet wonderful people and be part of their success.
So going into the woods and finding homeless people, that's a really adventurous kind of career to get into, right? So I imagine that a while back, it wasn't necessarily as economically difficult as it is now. And there's probably more homeless people who never would have expected to be homeless.
That is so true. Again, when I first started, it was a lot of people who had been in this experience for a long time, and they hadn't been employed for a long time, and they didn't have the skills to be really successful in housing because they hadn't been in housing.
Kind of like a stereotypical view of somebody who might have been
Very
homeless
much
back
so.
then. Yeah.
And that's really evolved over time. I think no more time did we see this than the pandemic, where people were suddenly in unbelievable economic crises and were really struggling and had never had to access services before. So they'd never walked those journeys. They had never, even had to learn what those services were. And so we do find so many people have been driven into the experience of homelessness over economic reasons.
Right. And wages are stagnant or flat, or you just can't possibly keep up in a place like Fairfield County. Fairfield County is incredibly expensive.
I mean, we have seen such a drastic increase in the last 5 years. I think it's about a 39% increase in what you need to make. I think it went from about $75,000 to $104,000 to rent a 2-bedroom apartment in this area. So we are about $30,000 over the national average. That's about $70,000.
As far as cost of living.
As far as, what you would need to earn to rent a 2-bedroom. And so, we're suddenly in this place where cost of living has skyrocketed, and yet wages have stayed pretty stagnant, particularly if a person is paying insurance premiums. Because insurance premiums go up, they get a little raise, but it gets eaten up. So, as we're watching not only housing costs, but transportation, food, childcare, that could be a whole other conversation. Those costs are really making it almost impossible for people to survive here.
People are being boxed out of the American dream because of the cost of healthcare and the housing and the travel.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many people who even work for us who think home ownership is, well beyond their capabilities, or all of those things that we used to talk about, vacations and retirement and, having kids and being able to pay for college. Those things are so daunting for people right now. And it's no surprise to me that so many more people are experiencing homelessness than ever before.
How does the general public get involved in something like that? Maybe put some political pressure where it belongs in order to address the problems that an organization like yours is facing.
Yeah. So I always say the best thing to do is reach out to your legislator and say, I find it unacceptable. You don't have to say, I don't want these people on my street anymore, but I find this issue unacceptable. And I think the more they hear that, the more attention it will get and the more policies and programs will be funneled. But, second to that, come and volunteer. There is nothing more impactful than volunteering at an organization and feeling like part of your own community. There's so many times we think we can't do anything, right? The whole world's changing and we're powerless, but you're not powerless in your own community. And volunteering gives you an opportunity to engage with people in a way that you never would otherwise. And I've never had somebody volunteer who didn't say the people weren't who I thought they would be, their challenges aren't what I thought they would be, just walked away with a completely different perspective.
I've been in a lot of conversations with people who look at problems like this and, they feel a little helpless, or maybe they're like, it's not me, it's not my problem. But, today it is their problem. Tomorrow it could be yours too.
Yes.
Economically speaking, most Americans are not far from disaster when it comes to savings and the income they have.
I mean, it's so true. I think I've heard so many stats about how few Americans have $400 in savings.
Right.
And a crisis is coming to you.
A flat tire wipe
right.
you out, right?
Right.
Or an illness.
And I will tell you, I have known a significant amount of people who have ended up in the experience of homelessness over a $400 charge that snowballed into something much larger. And so it may not be your problem today. It will touch your life in some way. Someone in your life will be in this experience. You may not know it.
Yeah.
A lot of people, that's a very shameful thing. And we've put a lot of shame on the experience of homelessness. And so it makes it so much harder for people to want to disclose the experience that they're in.
Right. Empathy now, empathy tomorrow. Because
Yes.
everybody needs that. Everybody needs to be looked at as a human being and be, cherished for the fact that they are humans and they need our help and respect.
I mean, they're some of the best people I've ever met.
Yeah.
I have met through this work. And I think if people understood the challenges people have experienced, the traumas they've experienced, and get to witness their resiliency, they would have a real different view of this issue.
Yeah.
I think homelessness has often been blamed on the people in the experience, but we don't take accountability for our own policies and procedures, as a country that have driven people into this experience.
So tell me how students from an institution like ours here can get involved. Is it internships, volunteering? What can we do?
I think if you can intern at an organization, you should do so. It is an amazing experience to be part of a team, often under-resourced, that is creative and impactful, and being a part of something like that. And, we have a practice at Open Doors that when someone leaves our shelter, we ring a bell. They ring a bell in the hallway. And we all come out and clap and cheer them and wish them well in their new house. And everybody who's in the shelter staying sees that. So they know people are leaving, that people are leaving positively. And to be a part of that moment alone will stay with me for the rest of my life. And I've heard that from so many people who just happened to be volunteering that day or interning that day and got to be a part of a moment and thought wow, so many things we take for granted, right? We're able to provide for people. And it's such it fills your heart so much.
Right. Well, I'm looking forward to getting the word out there and hoping students and others can get involved and be part of that process and help people ring that bell.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we always think we can't do things. We can't fix the world. Everything feels chaotic, but you can fix your local.
Right.
You can be a part of your own community and you can engage with people and again, watch people succeed. I don't think there's anything better in life than being a part of someone else's success.
My advice for people has always been to find your thing.
Yes.
Find the one thing where you know you can make a difference, because the world's chaotic. It comes at us all at once from all different directions, and that's part of the plan.
Yeah.
They want us off balance. They want us scattered and feeling overwhelmed. But if you pick that one thing, if you get involved with Open Doors or whatever organization it is, you're making that difference.
You're making a huge difference.
Right.
And you're changing the world. That's how it happens.
Yep.
It doesn't always happen in big moves. It's small incremental steps every single day. And, we can get to where we want to go. It takes work and it takes all of us.
That's right. Thank you, Michele.
Thank you so much.
Homelessness isn't inevitable. It's a reflection of choices, policy choices, economic structures, and the way communities respond to people in need. As Michele reminds us, the work of ending homelessness doesn't just happen through funding. It happens through coordination, compassion, and the relentless effort to treat housing as a human right. Organizations like Open Doors prove that change is possible when evidence meets empathy and when local solutions lead the way. To learn more about Open Doors, volunteer, or support their mission, visit opendoorsct.org. I'm Gregory Golda, and this has been Project Activate, a place where we explore how ideas, action, and community come together to build a more equitable world. Thank you. And thank you.
Thank you.